Welcome to the very first episode of First Generation of Queens. I'm your host, Noran Omar, and I'm honored to have with us Zaynab, a stylist, a fashionista, a hijabi model, and a college student. Thank you so much for being with us today. So tell me, where are you from?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I was born here, but I'm from Egypt.
Do you consider yourself American or Egyptian?
I guess I can't consider myself one only. I have to be both because, I've lived a very long time in America, but my roots do come from Egypt, and so it's always going to be a big part of me.
Even though you lived here all of your life, why don't you consider yourself full American? Because you were raised here, you experienced your whole life here. Why do you still go back to your roots of being an Egyptian?
I think it's because it's part of my family. My mom rooted in me Egypt, to be Egyptian hardcore, because I remember at one point actually I've forgotten all my Arabic because I didn't even have friends that were Egyptian, and I would go to school here, and so I wouldn't even speak that much Arabic except with my family, and even to my mom I would speak to her in English. And at one point she got really mad. She would get angry at me for forgetting my language, and at first I was like, oh, so annoying, but then now I do really appreciate the fact that she made me stay true to it. Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel as if you lost that Arabness, that Egyptianness in you? Because right now you just said that you had an accent, but do you feel like you lost that, or do you still have it?
Definitely not. I definitely almost lost it, but no. I do have a big group of friends who are Egyptians, and so that helps a lot with staying true Egyptian, especially to my closest friends. They're Egyptian, so that helps a lot.
So what makes you more American and what makes you more Egyptian? Because you balance both.
What makes me Egyptian? My culture, I guess. I kept a lot of my culture from Egypt.
Maybe the food, how the food, that's what roots you back, because there's the food is so different.
I prefer Egyptian food over fast food because I guess that's what you would consider American food, fast food. I don't eat fast food, and so even though Egyptian food is not good for you or anything,
mahshi and macarona bechamel, everything.
but I would prefer it over fast food for sure. What makes me American?
I know it's a deep question. Where does that question come from? And it's hard to answer, but it's you're American too,
If you think about it, it's just a mix of people from different places, and so that makes me American. I'm here to pursue a dream, just like everybody else.
And what is that dream? We want to get to know you because you are Egyptian and you're American, and I feel like that plays an influence in what you want to do with your life, and that persuades you in a path. So what is that dream that you want to fulfill?
I mean, what I'm doing right now, I don't know what I would do in the future. I'm still very confused. I'm a confused child. But I like fashion a lot, and so that's something that I have to mix between both because I dress modestly. Maybe that's from my Egyptian side, but also mostly from my religion as well. But then I have it very modernized, and so that's my American side, and so it's a mix of both.
And how do you balance being modest and modern and mixing the Egyptian culture clothing and the American culture clothing?
I think it used to be easy because I didn't care. It is a challenge, especially with everybody coming out now, dressing modestly and everything. It's hard to find what makes me different. Being an Egyptian and having a different taste in my style, that helps. Yes.
Do you speak Arabic?
Yes.
Can you tell us something in Arabic, maybe answering the question, what makes Egypt so special to you?
أهلها.
أهلها. That's a deep one.
Yeah.
Yeah. وأنا معاكي. And what does that mean?
I love its people.
Yeah.
100%.
Have you ever visited Egypt over the years? I know that you were raised here, but were you ever able to go back and visit?
Well, I just recently visited Egypt. Was 5-year gap from the last time I've visited Egypt.
Wow.
So I haven't been there with a personality or the person who I am right now. Yeah, so I didn't know who I was when I last visited Egypt. So it was really nice getting there with who I am now and seeing it from a different eye, pretty much.
And who are you? Like you just said, it influenced you to be who you are. So that just means that America helped you become the young woman that you are today. How has it influenced you to become that woman? Or like, how are you trying to find out who you are?
I was saying that I was going to go to Egypt. That was my number one goal, is to see something that I don't see on a regular basis. See family, see friends, see people praying on the streets, see, you know, it was a beautiful experience for me, and that's what I was missing. So, yeah. Because
you visited Egypt, what feels like home, here or in Egypt?
That's a very hard question for me, because even when I went to Egypt, I was like, that is what I feel like home is, but I was still missing here. At one point that I stayed there, because I stayed there for a month and a half. And I loved it there because I had family. I don't have any family here except obviously for my parents and siblings. And so having a cousin that I can, you know, talk to, or like sitting in the balcony with them was something very pure for me and very like relieving. But there's also something about being here that I've gotten used to living here. I've gotten used to my friends here. I've gotten used to the way I walk out the streets with, you know, less care, because, you know, over there in Egypt it was very difficult to go out by myself. I would have to have someone, an elder or a brother or, you know, a cousin. Someone had to go out with you, because even though, yes, the streets are safe, there's also a big part of it that's not safe. And so, you know, that I hated. I hated that I couldn't go out by myself. I couldn't venture by myself, because that's what I wanted. And so that's what I love about here, that I can do that. I can go out by myself. I can see the streets without having someone on my shoulder telling me what to do.
I guess that's what makes America so special, and we feel that we're able to do what we put our mind to without that fear of having to step outside alone. And I feel like that's what makes us appreciate being American.
You always know that you're at least part of something else, and so that matters, and that always has to be something that you represent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being a part of something, you said that you don't exactly fit in. Where do you feel like you could fit in? Could you more likely fit in Egypt, or could you more likely fit in America?
Honestly, I have a difficult time fitting in both places. Like here, with the recent, you know, news and recent activities happening in the U.S., I've gotten a lot of hate, more than I used to. And so that like reminded me that it reminds you every day that you're different than the person next to you. And that actually, like, it doesn't matter to me, because I've dealt with it. I've worn the headscarf since I was in 6th grade. I was like I think I was the second girl in the whole entire school that had a headscarf on her, because it was very like early when girls even wore that. And so I was very used to the fact that I was different than the person next to me, and I never made it
obvious.
I never made it like affect me, because if I did, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. I wouldn't be confident in the way I am. But also in Egypt, I go there and I'm this American girl. You know, I definitely am wearing the hijab. And even though Egypt is extremely modernized right now, there's those places where I wanted to go, where the culture is, where everybody stares at you. It's like, what is she doing here?
Sense it.
Yeah, I don't even have to say anything. They know you're not from here, like 100%, which is crazy to me. So I don't know. I guess it's just I don't know.
And that's why the show, The First Generation, came up, because I feel like there's a lot of young adults who don't know where they belong. They feel like they belong where their families are from, but at the same time they're American. So they're like, how do I balance that? And it's a struggle, you know? It's a struggle that we face every day, trying to figure out who we are, and it's a hard question.
Yeah, and I don't think they should think like, oh, where should I fit in? Because if you really think about that so often, you're never gonna think that you fit in anywhere. And I think you should just be comfortable with who you are. Yeah, like I'm two different people, and that's just how I fit in.
You said that there's a missing piece of you. So how do you find out where that missing piece of you is?
Okay, I really want to travel. And I think when you travel, that's when you find yourself. And so Egypt was the first step, but I don't want that to be the last step. I want to go different places because I find when you go see different people and you see their ways of living, you kind of become something, you become a part of something bigger. You're not just this person, it's not all focused on you, you know? You get to venture around and see what they like and what they eat and what they do on their daily basis. And I think, you know, traveling and seeing that will just open my eyes up to different ways, like different things. I wouldn't have to be focused so much on my future, you know? I really want to do that. I think that would just be like the best thing.
It's as if you're taking that piece of you to every place that you travel. So like every place you go to, you figure out a new piece of you, and that makes you who you are, and that's what makes you special.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how you became open-minded, because of being from two different places. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you guys tune in for the next episode for the first generation of Queens.